Your son got me pregnant. Excuse me, but I expect you to pay $30,000 as alimony. The phone call at my restaurant caught me off guard. The voice on the other end was a young woman, her tone abrupt and accusatory. She launched into a one-sided conversation, never even offering her name. Assuming it was just a prank call, I underestimated the gravity of the situation and didn't foresee the complications it would lead to. My name is Melissa Brown, and I own a successful restaurant in New York City that has gained national attention from TV shows and magazines. As a result, our lunch and dinner reservations are consistently full. The downside of our fame is an uptick in nuisance calls and aggressive pitches, which is why I initially dismissed this call as another joke. However, when she mentioned being pregnant, I was taken aback. I couldn't comprehend how my son might be involved in such a situation. Despite my disbelief, I decided to hear her out for a moment out of curiosity. I had an abortion. What are you going to do about the emotional and physical toll on me? Are you going to pay for the surgery too? First, could you tell me who I'm speaking to? I asked, trying to maintain professionalism even with prank callers. In the service industry, handling such calls tactfully is essential to avoid false narratives being spread. I'm a customer at your restaurant, she stated, her tone accusatory. Is this your response after your son hurt me? Your family lacks compassion and decency. I struggled to believe my son would do something like that. The kitchen staff glanced over, sensing the unusual call. I gave them a reassuring smile and wave, indicating everything was fine. Your son assaulted me on a dark street. Are you denying it was him? She demanded. I'm certain it was your son. He lives with you, right? I've been terrified ever since, scared to go out alone. What are you going to do about it? She began recounting the alleged incident. I think you may have mistaken my son for someone else. But this sounds serious. Can we meet in person to discuss it? Often, suggesting a meeting can deter prank callers. I wanted to end the conversation quickly. Meeting the criminal's parent? How dare you suggest such a thing to a victim? She exclaimed. I just want to verify your story in person. I tried to reason. Are you implying I'm lying? She challenged. That's not my intention, I replied, trying to keep my cool. I almost blurted out, you're lying, aren't you? But I bit back my words. Instead, she launched into a tirade, questioning my integrity and suitability as a business owner. Why don't we meet and discuss this in person? I suggested repeatedly, but she adamantly refused each time. So what exactly do you want me to do? I asked, trying to navigate through her demands. Pay me $30,000 in alimony, she insisted, despite my attempts to explain it was a case of mistaken identity and that such a sum was beyond my means. You can afford it. Your business is thriving, she countered. Even though my restaurant was doing well, $30,000 was a substantial amount, and I had no intention of paying. Are you sure you want to involve the police? I questioned, hoping to deter her. I don't mind, she replied without hesitation, leaving me momentarily stunned. If my son did something like this, I would hold him accountable, I asserted. But I truly believe he's innocent. You seem awfully confident in his innocence, she remarked. Maybe you should reconsider. I would reconsider if there was any evidence, I retorted. Do you have any? The line went silent as she seemed to mull over her response. If there's no evidence, I'm ending this call, I declared, attempting to bring the conversation to a close. Wait, she interjected suddenly. If I provide evidence, will you pay the alimony? I might consider it, I conceded reluctantly. Then wait. I'll bring the evidence, she declared before abruptly hanging up. As I assured my concerned employee, Mr. Murphy, that everything was fine, I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that she might cause a scene at the restaurant. Later, while preparing for dinner service, I had nearly forgotten about the call until Mr. Murphy rushed up to me, his face pale and holding a manila envelope. What's wrong? You don't usually run in the restaurant, I remarked, puzzled. Owner, you need to see this, he said, handing me the envelope. Inside was a letter addressed to Ms. Melissa Brown. I was assaulted and impregnated by your son. Please transfer $30,000 as alimony. The words, written in bold, demanded my attention as I unfolded the letter. Karen Williams, the recipient's name, stared back at me. Mr. Murphy, visibly disturbed, had been the first to glimpse the contents of the unsealed and unsigned letter. Calm down, I reassured him. You know my son, don't you? His relief was palpable, But there was more to the envelope. I reached in and pulled out a pregnancy test. "What's that?" Mr. Murphy inquired, perplexed. The commotion attracted other employees, their expressions a mix of shock and disbelief. Could it truly be the owner's son? Some gave me accusatory glances, but I quickly dispelled any doubts, explaining the situation. I returned the items to my desk and resumed my duties, trying to maintain a sense of normalcy. Days passed without any money being transferred, yet the incident lingered uncomfortably. "This came again, owner," Mr. Murphy announced, holding the manila envelope warily. "I see. Check the contents and put it away in the usual place," I instructed. Harassing letters had inundated the restaurant's mailbox lately, each one more venomous than the last. "Are you planning to run? Pay up. The owner is the parent of a criminal. Her son got a college girl pregnant and didn't even apologize. She's heartless, cruel, with no sincerity. An irresponsible, overprotective, toxic parent. It's your fault your son turned out that way. Take responsibility. I'll ensure no customers come here. It's for the good of the world, for the good of the people." As the accusations piled up, I couldn't help but feel the weight of each word, a relentless assault on my character and my business. I pondered what could drive customers away from a restaurant, those places where they dare to add that greasy, repulsive thing to the food. Those are sure to lose my business. The comments I was reading escalated steadily, culminating in what seemed like a veiled threat. Thankfully, there hadn't been any claims that such things were happening at our establishment, but the constant fear of being targeted was wearing me down. Amidst this turmoil, I noticed something unusual, an increase in vacant seats during lunch service. The gradual decline in customers was unsettling. "Owner," Mr. Murphy's voice broke through my thoughts as he approached with his laptop in hand. "Look at this review site." I glanced at the screen, my heart sinking as I read the latest reviews filled with scathing remarks. Bad customer service. They ignore feedback, especially the owner, who's let fame go to her head after media appearances. The quality of the food is deteriorating. Even the soup tasted bland compared to my last visit, and I witnessed an employee dropping a piece of meat only to pick it up and cook it every single day. My anger surged, and I realized I was trembling. "This is unacceptable," I muttered. "Why should our restaurant, built with such care to delight our customers, suffer from these unfounded accusations?" I struggled to compose myself. "Are the preparations progressing?" I asked, my voice strained. "Yes, they're nearly finished," Mr. Murphy replied, his tone reflecting the gravity of the situation. I couldn't help but smirk, as a week had passed since we first discovered the slanderous comments on the review site. The number of customers had continued to dwindle since then. As I walked out into the dining area, I spotted Mr. Anderson, one of our regulars, seated at the counter next to a young woman. "Mr. Anderson, thank you for your continued support." I greeted him, grateful for his presence during these trying times. He offered me a comforting nod. "It's been tough for you lately, Melissa, but stay strong. This job is your lifeline, and I admire your resilience." I smiled back at him, though his sympathetic tone puzzled me. "You're doing well, considering your son's situation," he continued. "Don't lose hope. We're here for you, and we'll help your son as he makes amends." "What?" I was taken aback, struggling to understand what he meant. I noticed the place is quieter than usual, so I was curious about what was going on. "This young woman here showed me a webpage about the restaurant," he said, gesturing to the young woman sitting beside him. "I truly feel for you, Melissa," she added. "I love coming here, so I've been trying to visit more often to support you during this time." Upon closer inspection, I realized she was a familiar face I'd seen frequently in the restaurant lately. "Excuse me," I said, trying to clarify the situation. "What's written on that page is a misunderstanding." The young woman nodded thoughtfully. Some regulars were asking why the restaurant had been so quiet, so I explained what I'd read to them. I struggled to grasp her words, questioning whether I had heard correctly. "It's not surprising if people don't know the full story," she continued. "Besides, I thought the owner would be happy to know that loyal customers like Mr. Anderson and myself were still supporting the restaurant." However, I couldn't believe my ears when she revealed that she had been spreading unverified rumors to other patrons. My voice rose in anger, losing all sense of decorum. "Wow, that's harsh," the young woman said, feigning surprise. "The internet says the owner is a terrible person, and I thought that couldn't be true. But now, I see you really are the kind of parent who would defend a son accused of assaulting women. You should apologize if you believe you've done something wrong." She recoiled slightly, as if she expected me to strike her, even though I hadn't made any move in her direction. "Miss, that's not an appropriate way to speak," Mr. Anderson interjected, coming to my defense. "Melissa is likely just tired from all that's been going on." His words were meant to shield me, but they missed the point entirely. I was about to explain that the real issue was something else entirely when the young woman's bag slipped off the back of her chair. It must have shifted as she moved around. Despite my simmering anger, my instincts from years in the service industry kicked in, and I reached out to pick up her bag. But then I noticed something. Karen Williams. The name written on the student ID card that had fallen out stopped me in my tracks. "No worries, I'll grab it myself," she said quickly, scrambling off her chair to retrieve her bag and ID. But I got there first. "Hey, give it back," she demanded. It was no mistake. That name matched the one on the letter with the pregnancy test, which didn't even serve as real evidence of anything. "So it was you I've been looking for, Karen Williams," I said, facing her. I must have swapped it with a friend by mistake. I'm not Karen," she protested. But the face on the ID and the one in front of me were unmistakably the same. "Interesting. So you're a student at Central College," I said. "No, I'm telling you, you're mistaken." Beside her, Mr. Anderson appeared perplexed, clearly not understanding what was unfolding. "I'm going to sue you," I declared, catching the attention of the few patrons around us. They all turned to watch the scene. "What did I do?" she exclaimed. "I believe you know exactly what you did," I replied firmly. "Since we're all here, let's let everyone know." I looked around at the bar, filled mostly with regulars, a reminder that few new customers had been coming in. The sight only fueled my anger towards this young woman, who seemed to be the source of our business's disruption. "Let me ask you this. Are you the one who called, claiming my son assaulted you and got you pregnant, then demanding alimony?" I glared at her, demanding an explanation. "Yes, that's me. I'm the one your son assaulted," she admitted without hesitation. Her surprising openness caught me off guard. "What, you want to humiliate me in front of all these people? This could backfire on you. Considering the reputation of your restaurant," she shot back, her arms crossed defiantly. Her brazen attitude only fueled my anger further. "Mr. Murphy, bring everything over," I ordered, instructing him to fetch a laptop from the store's office along with a stack of envelopes and documents about 4 inches thick. "Was it you who sent these harassing letters to the restaurant?" I asked, raising my voice so the other customers could hear. I read aloud from some of the letters. "Pay up or run. This owner is the parent of a criminal. Her son impregnates a college girl and doesn't even apologize. Poor souls eating food from this woman's restaurant. I'm going to make sure customers stop coming to the store. It's for the greater good." The regulars who heard the harsh words covered their mouths in shock. "This is completely threatening," I pointed out. "There's no evidence that I sent this letter. It could be someone else who heard the rumors and decided to send it just for fun," she said, desperately trying to defend herself. I silently opened my laptop and displayed the screen of another review site for her to see. "Some of you here may have seen this defamatory content on this review site," I said, addressing the room. "You posted this too, didn't you?" She questioned me, challenging me for evidence and accusing me of being irrational. "Evidence, evidence, you demand evidence, yet the one you provided is questionable at best," I retorted. I showed Mr. Anderson the first letter I had received, along with the pregnancy test. "This," I said, pointing to the test, "is the supposed evidence she brought. What do you think of this red line? Doesn't it look like just a marker?" Even Mr. Anderson, with his aging eyes, could see the dubiousness of the tests, and the other customers began murmuring in response. The young woman grew defensive and angry, insisting she was the victim. "I was assaulted by your son. He even admitted it. It's disrespectful to doubt me." The patrons whispered among themselves, unsure whom to believe. "Since I'm the victim, it must be absolutely true," she shouted, her voice rising as if to garner sympathy. But her theatrics didn't faze me. "Let me clear this up," I said calmly. "My son is 3 years old." Chet. Upon hearing this, she let out a small, deflated gasp. "What?" she stammered. "My son may be active and strong for his age, but there's no way he could have assaulted you. Absolutely no way." she stammered, trying to regain her composure. No. I know you have an older son. You live together. I even have a photo. I heard you discussing dinner. She pulled out her smartphone and showed me a picture of a young man speaking with me near the store's back door. Isn't that Taylor? She said triumphantly. See, you have 2 sons. She continued, gaining confidence from recognizing the person in the photo. That's not right, I immediately refuted. Then who is this person? She demanded. Is he your lover? Are you having an affair with a younger man, and then he impregnated a college girl? What a scandal. Your business and your marriage are doomed. I let her finish and then calmly revealed the truth. This person is my niece, I said, pointing at the photo. Your niece? She questioned. Yes, and actually, she's a girl. I explained that my niece, who is tomboyish and often mistaken for a boy, even as an adult, is a college student who stays at my place. In exchange for boarding with me, she helps by cooking dinner and picking up my son. If you need evidence, I can bring her here for you to see for yourself, I told the young woman, who stood there in shock and seemed unable to comprehend my words. By the way, I've already gathered all the evidence related to the harassment letters and the review site posts. Evidence? No way, she stammered, looking pale and unsteady. I've already consulted with the police and my attorney. I continued, outlining the preparations I had made with the help of Mr. Murphy, one of my employees. The first piece of evidence was a letter from her, with fingerprints that matched those on the harassment letters. Additionally, all posts on the review site were traced back to her through a disclosure request. With no way out, she sank to the floor, her energy draining from her. Weren't you just saying it was better to apologize quickly if you've done something wrong? I asked. She mumbled something incoherently, her face pale, but I couldn't tell if she was apologizing. I will contact the police about you. I will also inform your parents and your college. Prepare yourself for a lawsuit for emotional distress and damages. No, please don't do that. I'm still a student. Please spare me, she pleaded. Whether you're a student or not, you're over 18 years old and an adult. You must take responsibility for your actions, I replied. In the end, I filed a criminal complaint against Karen Williams for defamation, business obstruction, and damages to the restaurant. It turned out she had been a big spender, buying luxury items on credit. When she couldn't make her payments, she committed these crimes. As a result, she was expelled from her college. The incident even made the news, and Karen became the target of harassment herself after her personal information was exposed. With the help of my lawyer, all slanderous posts on the review site were removed. The uproar unexpectedly turned into a positive outcome, as it cleared up misunderstandings among my regular customers. Now, the number of customers has returned to normal. While the incident initially deterred new customers, almost no regulars stopped coming. Despite all the lies Karen had spread, it was satisfying to know that her claims were not believed. Moving forward, I plan to continue running the restaurant with the trust of my customers in mind.